Hello, everybody, and welcome to Cosmic Conversations. I'm your host, Sheila Seppi, and tonight I am very excited to present JoAnne Palladino. I will have her coming on in just a moment. I do have a couple announcements just real quick. If you are not already signed up on our mailing list, please visit wishalliance.org, go to the contact section, print your information. We'll add you immediately to our list. That way you can stay up to date with all of our phenomenal speakers that we have every week and our quarterly events. So we just had a phenomenal Starseed conference. The first, well, it's not the first, but it was the Starseed Summit with Through the Portal to Ascension. And it was absolutely magical. We had Bridget as one of our speakers, who I'm going to introduce in just a minute before I turn it back over to JoAnne. But I do want you to go ahead and mark your calendars for January the 8th and the 9th. We will have our second annual Walk-In and Indigo Conference. That'll be 2 days, again, using the platform Portal to Ascension. So right now, I'd like to go ahead and introduce Miss Bridget Holliday. Can you go ahead and unmute, Bridget?
Hello, hello.
Yeah, Bridget's been helping us out with getting the word out. So I'm going to let her explain to you the other platform that we're actually using right now.
Hi, everybody. So nice to be here with you. So we are currently streaming Zoom to Clubhouse, which is a drop-in audio app, which is filled with people right now. I don't know how many. I haven't looked, but it looks like it's filling up. So yeah, if you are ever on Clubhouse, you can find me and a lot of my family friends on there in the Awake and Ascending Club. And we invite you to come hang out with us. In Awake and Ascending, we do rooms every Monday and Friday. And that is, they begin at 4:30 Pacific, 7:30 Eastern, and 12:30 a.m. UK, because the mesh is amazing and he stays up with us very late in the UK.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Bridget. I really appreciate it, honey. Thanks for helping to get the word out. And so now I want to introduce JoAnne Palladino. Gosh, JoAnne, it's only been 2 years.
It seems so much longer than that.
I know. I was just thinking
goodness.
When it was that we first met, but we both were speaking at a local IANS conference, at an IANS meeting. And as it always goes, you know, you end up making friends with everybody that's there. And I'm sitting here pushing buttons. Okay, JoAnne, honey, I think I've got you muted. You'll have to go ahead and unmute.
Yeah, I got it.
There we go. Now I've got speaker. Yeah. So I met JoAnne about 2 years ago, and we've stayed in touch. And then she contacted me not too long ago and expressed an interest in the Wish Alliance. And I was like, yay, JoAnne, come on, join the party. So here she is. I've asked JoAnne if she would go ahead and give a little bit of history about how she came to be where she is right now, because I had the opportunity to hear her story, and it is absolutely fascinating. And so I'm going to go ahead and turn it over to JoAnne, because I don't want to miss any of those awesome details. So again, let's present JoAnne Palladino. So thank you so much for being here.
Yeah, thank you again. Yeah, I have the screen on gallery, because I do want to see everyone and just be connected with all of you, and appreciate that you were called to come in and join tonight. And Sheila, it's good to be with you again. It has been, really, it seems like a lifetime. When you say 2 years, I'm like, really? It's like, it seems forever. It seems like yesterday was a lifetime ago. You know? So, you know, the story, I always honor people's stories, and I look at my story as, I guess I would call it extraordinary and ordinary. You know, we all have our incredible stories of how we've gotten to where we are, and honoring them all, you know, honoring them all. And I have to really think about, you know, when this all began, because I guess I could say I was a late bloomer. A lot of people that I hear, when I hear their stories, they say that they've known things when they were, you know, children and things like that. But I was not that one. And I guess I consider it my first awakening. I've had a number through the years. And it was in the late 90s. So I was in, you know, my early 40s at the time. So now I've given away my age. And it came sudden and hard. And anytime I do have these awakenings that kick my butt, I will say, it always hits me hard, and it usually lasts for quite a while, for like a year or so, for me to finally sort of come out of it and be fully integrate what came through. And it's usually new gifts that have come through when this all happened. So it was actually 97, in the late 90s. I was in the corporate world. And my focus was to just climb the ladder. That was really what I wanted to do. I wanted to climb the ladder. I wanted to be successful. I wanted to be known. I wanted all of that stuff. And I did. I got to that level. I worked for a well-known insurance company that's, you know, national. And what began to happen, and I think Hilgard said something about, you know, is anybody feeling Ascension symptoms? At the time, I didn't know what it was. And when I go through this, it affects my body pretty deeply. So that's really what began to happen. I felt a lot of shifts in my form. And I worked for a healthcare company. So at the time, I went through all kinds of testing, and they came up with nothing. You know, we don't know what's going on. But through all of this, what was also happening was what I was very interested in and had like a passion about in my work, I didn't really care anymore. And I really call it sort of like a whole being breakdown. So mental, emotional, physical, I was just sort of unplugged from everything. And it got to a point where I did have to leave work. You know, I just left and I probably was on leave for about 4 months, because what was happening, I mean, my position, I was the sales administration and marketing director for the Northeast for Kaiser, actually. And I used to go to these meetings and sit there, and my main responsibility was to support sales efforts in 4 states. So I had a lot of departments under me. And I used to come out of the meetings and I go, what did they just say? Like nothing was sticking anymore. Like my soul, and at the time I didn't realize this, sort of unplugged from what I was really wanting to do for many years. I eventually did go back to work, because again, I didn't really know what I was going into, what I was getting involved in. And I was there probably for another 6 or 9 months. And it was pretty clear that this isn't where I belonged. And I didn't know really where I was going to end up. And it was December, the end of December, 1999, right? A lifetime ago. It sounds so funny to even say that, 1999. I really did a whole shift in my life where I left my 6-figure job, I left my second husband, and I sold my house. And I had no idea what I was going to do. I really had no idea. But there was no question that I had to do this. But in the meantime, that's when I was introduced to holistic practices. Before that, I was still doing drive-through McDonald's. No, actually Burger King. I liked Burger King and not McDonald's. And that's really what I was doing. I wasn't into food. I wasn't into exercise. I was just into working and climbing the ladder. But I was introduced to a gentleman. I called him my Zen master. He was 80 something years old, Dr. Jack. And he introduced me to organic, food and yoga, a whole different way of eating. And that completely changed my life. And yoga became like my first spiritual practice. And that's really how I was thrown in, because there was a sense of like the rug was pulled out from underneath me. I really didn't know what was going on. And that's when the tipping point happened for me in the year 2000. It was quite remarkable. And then the beginning of that is when I was seeing a therapist because I thought I was, a little crazy, a little off. And she's the one, because I kept feeling energy and I'm like, what is this? What's going on? And she's the one who suggested that I sort of, explore energy medicine, and Reiki was the first avenue that I went to. And then it just sort of continued from there. And what I have found, again, through the years, when I do go through the awakenings, and I'm actually in one right now, it was kind of funny, Hilgard, that you were saying, is anybody feeling it? I have been, it's been a bit of a roller coaster with intense like purging and intense downloads. And it's been going on for about 6 weeks now. So I'm glad I'm here and I'm able to do this, because they come on whenever, I never know when they're going to come on. Anyway. But every time this does happen to me, gifts started to come in, even though I am trained in many areas. That's not really what my go-to is, at all. And I started plugging into, what was available out there, again, not having knowledge about it. So somebody said to me that I went through my doctorate. I went from not knowing anything and like head on full course of really receiving these downloads, receiving visitations. There's actually some instances that are showing up as I'm sort of going back in the memory bank of probably for a good 6 months or so. I used to wake up in the middle of the night, I don't know, around the same time, 3-ish or so. And I was called to sit in front of a mirror. And I sat there for, it could be a half an hour. And I just kept receiving visitations from human beings. They were not galactic-like. They were all human beings, and one right after another, after another, after another. And it lasted for 6 months. Again, I didn't understand what was going on. It was still very new to me. Or things like, getting up in the middle of the night and crawling around like a lizard and a reptilian like energy. And I just did it. I didn't question it. I was very aware. I was awake when this was happening, but I couldn't stop it. It just was, taking place. For the longest time in one of my awakenings, I had to have like a bucket next to my bed, and just, again, always in the middle of the night, just throwing up. It was black energy. I didn't throw up anything physical, but it was just purging this black energy from this form, from this form. And in a way, that is what's taking place now, and the messages that I've received of when the purging is happening is that I'm burning up like karmic debris. And it's not just mine. I feel like it's when I experience these kinds of purgings and downloads, it isn't, and I'm sure many of you could relate to this. It's not just what you're doing for yourself, but I feel I am part of the collective's cleansing, you know, that's going on. So, you know, as the years went on, what ended up happening, and I was in the marketing and sales, that's really, you know, where my focus was. I started working with holistic practitioners to help them market themselves and just sort of understand what they do and help them get their word out there. Because I'm like, oh my God, people need to know about this. Again, I'm a complete newbie, you know, in the late 90s and early 2000s. And that's how I got into it a little more deeper. And then with training, with these various sort of downloads that were happening, gifts started appearing. And I was sort of brave enough at the time that I started my own, you know, private practice. And I continue to, you know, to have that private practice. So a tipping point happened, I want to say 2010, 2011, something like that. And this is when the channeling started coming through me, like spontaneously, channeling the light language. Again, I felt like I was in elementary school, not knowing what this was about. I definitely felt like I was a crazy person. I wanted to know what I was going to say. And it took quite a toll on this body. It was like intense energy that came through, and I'll definitely, you know, extend light language tonight and answer personal questions or general questions and give transmissions, because that's why I'm here on the planet. But it took a toll on the body where when the downloads came, the channeling of the light language came, again, I never knew when it was going to be happening. I could be on the line in the grocery store, have company at the house, at a restaurant, but it took such a toll on my body that after it was complete, I was paralyzed and I couldn't move. And then finally I was able to like get fully back into my body and go on to whatever I was, you know, involved with. And I kept putting out there that my sense was I wasn't the only one that this was happening to. I wanted to make sure I wasn't a crazy person, you know, in all of this. And I really asked for a teacher and a guide, like help me, like, please help me so I could understand this. And I was introduced to Judy Satori, which I'm sure many of you are familiar with. And I trained a little bit with her. And that's when things started to become more clear to me and put it in perspective, what light language was and how to be with it in a better way than having it take over my body, because I didn't think I was in control. And my goodness, when I found out I was in control and letting this energy in when it was appropriate, that really shifted how my body was taking in sort of this intense direct energy. So that started evolving, and one, again, I don't know, maybe a year or two into this, I was in meditation, and in the stillness, the message was that it came through during this time to help the ascension on planet Earth. And when I heard that, I just cried. My soul, I think, heard it, or there was a confirmation about it. The other thing that, and I've named this, and it's really the voice of God. I mean, that's really what I feel it is. It's named Shamaya. And that word started coming through more often when the channeling was happening. And again, I didn't know what that was. I thought it was just, you know, the tones and the frequencies that were coming through, like all the others. But one night it came through. Actually, my husband Cory and I, we had company over, and I always knew that the language was going to come through, because I felt like, I'm like, uh-oh, you know, here it is. It's like, here's Johnny, it's coming. And that night I kept saying Shamaya, and, you know, the light language, and then Shamaya. So got myself back together after that channel came through, and it came through specifically for the gentleman that was having dinner with us. It was directed for him. And my husband said, he goes, I recognize a word that you're saying. And I'm like, really? Like, really? Like, I got excited. And he said, the word is Shamaya. So I was with that, and come to find out that this is an ancient Aramaic word. And it's in the Gospels of Thomas. They say Yeshua has talked about Shamaya. And what it means is, it always touches me, because I could feel it. The Shem part of Shamaya, the Shem means God, light, vibration. And Maya means that God, light, vibration is in everything, everyone, and in every word. It permeates all of us. It permeates the universe. It's the Shem. It's the vibrational frequency of God. That's what it is. So when I heard the word, when I heard the meaning, I just sobbed, because I felt the truth of it and the beauty of it, the vibrational quality of what it represents, that we're all Shamaya. And that's how I named it. So Shamaya isn't, it is. It's not a being, a person. It's, you know, it's not like someone who's been embodied and said, we're going to use your body as a channel, JoAnne. It is. It is the universal essence of who we are, Shamaya. When I received the message that it was here, Shamaya is here, this channeling, that it was for the collective, that's when I started holding group gatherings. I call them Shamaya gatherings. And I'm not quite sure, it's been quite a while now that I've been doing that. And I've done them in person, and then, you know, what's going on the planet these days, it's going through Zoom, you know, it continues through Zoom. And actually the next one is on the 17th. So I have one a month now. So Shamaya is here for the collective. It is present when I work with people individually, you know, one-on-one. It's of course involved and very present in groups, and it'll be here tonight. I'll share that with you. And, you know, someone again has a personal question, it could be directed to them. And even if it's just to one person, we're all receiving it, you know, we're all receiving it. But what I have been finding more and more through the past few years, and every day, I could just be in my day, and it will start it'll start coming through. And I feel it's purposeful. It's really purposeful of why it's being communicated now and in a certain way. Also, and I'm sure many of you are familiar with light language. Though the intellect doesn't understand, right? Our ego doesn't understand what this is about or understands the meaning of it. I am able to interpret what is coming through, but not 100% of the time. When there's a clear interpretation, that's when I'll share it with the person or the group. If not, I am with it as it is, and it's coming through and communicating what it's communicating for a reason that it's not coming to me. Why, So I'm really, in the beginning when this happened, I wanted to know what everything meant. It was making me, again, I need to know, what does this mean? What is this about? Why am I saying this? But again, through the years and the maturity of it and understanding it and having a different level of embodiment of Shamaya, I don't need to know. You don't need to know. And I'm so at home with that. I'm at peace with it. And if someone says, can you repeat that? Or I go, oh no, my goodness, no. Again, it's not the intellect, it's not the human aspect that is doing this. I'm just the form. I'm the channel. And many of my senses, many of you might be channels and are so familiar with it. So there's what I learned through the years is to trust and surrender to it. And it's here. Why is it here now? To wake us up, to wake humanity up. And it's done really from a sense of compassion. There's a lot of compassion behind this. And at the same time, great wisdom. So there's this integral marriage between, if we look at it on the human level, the divine feminine and the divine masculine in the human aspect, and is coming and communicating through that presence. So it's in the state of love. Not the kind of love that you love your dog or you love your husband, but it's the essence of the creator. It's, the creation that permeates everything. It's everything. Now, what I have found, is this okay that I'm still going here? Or do you want questions? I don't mean to keep. Okay, it's okay.
No, it's perfect. Yes.
Okay, all right, good. Because
feel free to talk, and then if you want to do some channel, then we could open it up for some questions and answers, cool. And you may get more channeling. Who knows what happens? Yeah,
I don't know.
Yeah, it's the JoAnne show. It's all you, baby.
Yeah. Well, I don't know about that, but. Well, the beauty, the beauty is the unknown. We don't have a script. It's funny. What's just coming to me is, in corporate, boy, did you have to know everything. And if you didn't, you had the agenda and it was linear. Well, these days it's like, what day and what time is it? I don't know. But being in that unknown is, and it's like a playground, the unknown is the playground of it all. So I'll just touch on a little bit about when I do have a sense of knowing of what's being channeled. So I'll know, it'll be clear to me if the transmission is a prayer. It'll be very clear. This is a prayer that's coming through. Sometimes Shamaya has a conversation with someone. And it talks to them through a level of wisdom. And it's really allowing the person to take it in, not on the intellectual level, but through the soul, the essence of the vibrations. And that's where the knowledge is, the ancient wisdom. You know, sometimes it could be very direct, like not messing around here, a direct message to the person. And sometimes I know what the message is, you know, what the directness is, and sometimes I don't. But the energy behind it, you know, and you'll feel it. At times it could be very general, you know, or when I, you know, scan someone's body, I scan their energetic presence, excuse me, it might be for a particular organ. So I never know. I never know. And it's funny because someone, you know, said to me one time, it sounds like a Jewish grandmother. And sometimes it does, you know. It has sometimes a Mother Mary quality, you know, I don't know. So that's, I guess, why I feel like this essence is, it's not one being. It is really coming from dimensions that I don't even know, because people have asked me, you know, what dimension is it from? Is it Arcturian? Is it Palladian? Is it? And I'm like, I don't know. I don't know. And I don't need to know. And does it matter? I don't know. To me, it doesn't matter. For me, the intention is to really support whoever I'm working with, or a group, or if something comes through for the collective, is really to move through this with ease and grace. To ascend with ease and grace, even in the midst of turmoil. Even when sometimes we're getting our butt kicked. It's my little New York piece in there, you know, because it's not always fun, you know. It's challenging on the body, on the emotions, our mental well-being, you know. And the essence of this, and I feel for my work, not personally, but for those that I work with, on the human aspect, is to realize complete and unconditional love and self-acceptance. Imagine, as John Lennon would say, imagine if we were all fully embodied on the human aspect of complete and unconditional love and self-acceptance. How different we would be to ourselves, to our neighbors, to the collective. It would be a different world, you know. Then that's the form that I'm speaking of. So then the formless, but it is part of the form, is the truth of who we are, our essence, the true self. And have those marry, have those merged beautifully. That's what I would like to achieve in this lifetime. You know, to have that. You know, like Yeshua says, in the world, but not of the world. Yes, you pay your bills, but meantime, you're in a state of, you know, the beauty, you know, of the light, and being in that vibrational quality of inner peace, and not being disturbed or triggered by what's unfolding on planet Earth. Not feeling it should be any other way. So Shamaya is talking to you, all of you. Kini itakla akane to shuma akine te kashtin iminata to Shamaya. Kata imina eto shuma ni kata to oyemanata ka. These are ancient teachings that you already know. Titi shono oya papiana ta kakina to shimana alai to be minute kimene I tutosho. Be it ma ato shimai kanava to be echichi amana ipadan olo me in the kana ishto onu oyamian yamana to koloro ipatatish in odo shima I never eat to yebara. It was a teaching for all of us. We may have each received something different or the same thing. One piece I didn't touch on is, you know, when Shamaya extends the transmission, is really to allow yourself to feel the quality of the vibration, of the frequency. Just allow yourself to feel it. Like, you know, it's almost like how I'm seeing this as I'm describing it. It's allowing your energetic field to open, like a little doorway, and invite it in. Letting it settle, you know, letting it settle in, you know, into the cells. And you receive what you receive. You know, there isn't an agenda here of what it's supposed to be, or and of course, you know, it's not about the personality wanting to know, what does that mean? You know, what does that mean? How come it sounds that way? These are all questions I had when it first started coming through, you know. I had more questions, scratching my head like, what? You know, what is that? So I'll pause. Pause for a moment if anyone would like to share or ask a question.
So if anyone would like to ask a question, if you'll go ahead and use the little icon in the reaction to raise your hand so you can be acknowledged, that would be awesome. Oh, Gary, you have a question?
I just want to make a comment. JoAnne, I've been experiencing your healing light language sessions down at Journeys for Conscious Living for the last 10 years. Not since COVID started, but for years at their metaphysical fairs there at the
Yeah.
Unity Church. And
Cool.
it was always great. I get into such a relaxed state. And then as your channelings come through, I've really, really enjoyed that over the years. So thank you very much.
Thanks, Gary. Does anyone else have a question or a comment for JoAnne? Yes, Miss Sandy. Okay.
There we go. Can you hear me now?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. I just want to say this is probably my, I don't know, maybe third or fourth group with JoAnne and Shamaya. I've had a couple of privates over the years, and the last group a couple of months ago, I shared a specific thing that was going on with me personally that was very stressful on lots of levels. And that was the first time that I really felt like I understood completely what Shamaya was saying to me, which was basically, what do you expect? You keep banging your head against the same wall, you know, type of, it was almost a little like a sarcastic Jewish grandmother from New York, Joe. But it really felt so specific and like I really understood it, and just wanted to share that.
Thanks, Sandy.
Thank you. Susie.
Just that when JoAnne started
Yeah.
speaking about Shamaya, I'm telling you, I've been doing this a long time. I had godbumps. I started crying. I mean, it was absolutely beautiful. I think Bridget said the same thing. There was just such an amazing energy when you just mentioned that word and told us about it. So thank you, thank you. But
Yeah.
I mean, I did. I started crying right on the spot.
Yeah, it's you know, still, I'm still fascinated by all of this. I still consider myself the kid in the candy store, you know. It's still all new. It's still all fresh. I'm innocent in it. But I'm, you know, feeling the quality of just saying the word, you know. And Aramaic, that's really, you know, the essence of Aramaic. It's the vibrational quality and the meaning, and just the sound doesn't have one meaning, you know, it has multiple meanings. So it's a beautiful language too. But yeah, I felt it as well. I really felt that. I felt it in my body, and the sobbing happened. And when that happens, for me, I feel it's the soul, you know, the soul hears it, and there's a truth to it, you know. It's so, you know, authentic and real, you know. Yeah.
Beautiful. Would you be interested or willing in having people to ask you questions for individual transmissions?
Yeah, I mean, I'm welcome that, you know, for sure.
Great.
And yeah, if there is something personal that they'd like to address, explore. And again, I always feel, even if someone asks a personal question, we'll probably all relate to it on some level.
Right.
and
right.
the transmission will affect them, you know, too. So
Beautiful. Beautiful.
yeah.
Does anyone have a question? Hildegard.
First of all, thank you so much, JoAnne, and I can totally relate to, oh, what's happening here? What kind of funny stuff comes out of my mouth?
Yeah.
My reaction to light language as well. But I'm wondering, you mentioned Aramaic. When I heard you speak, there was also this Spanish kind of flavor to it. How does this relate? Like, I didn't quite get what you meant with Aramaic.
Well, Aramaic is the language, the Aramaic language. I'm not speaking Aramaic, but the word Shamaya is Aramaic.
Okay.
You know, what comes through like I said, what'd you say, Spanish? Is that what you?
Yeah, it has a Spanish flavor to it.
Interesting. Yeah, I don't know.
Here, at least.
Yeah, and I don't speak Spanish. Again, and some people say it's, the Jewish grandmother. Sometimes it sounds sort of Aztec, quality to it. Native American, Tibetan sometimes. So I don't really have the understanding of the relationship between the qualities of it, but trusting what is coming through is there for like the reason and the purpose. Like I shared a little earlier, and again I smile and chuckle a little bit if someone says, can you repeat that? Can you say that again? Or can you, and I go, what? No, yeah, no, I can't do that. I can't do that.
So for you, when the light language comes through, do you feel that your mouth is kind of taking over, does whatever, and it doesn't go through the circuits at all? Like as I'm speaking to you in English, I might be on some level in my brain form sentences, but when I speak light language, it seems like my mouth does whatever, and I'm really not part of that.
Yeah.
Unless I'm prompted, as you did just now as well, say something in an understandable language that we are using at this time.
Yeah.
What is your experience of that? And then my other question is, when did you feel totally comfortable with it? Because I'm still a little bit at loggerheads with it.
Yeah. Well, this started, like I said, in, I want to say 2010, 2011, around there. I feel it took me a number of years, a couple of years, to be at ease with it, not have that thought process. And also, again, for me, it took a toll on my body to have my body sort of, I did feel like I was being rewired, like without a doubt, like I wasn't the same person anymore when this was happening to me. So it took a while. And there was a tipping point for me too, when, and I shared a little bit ago, where I realized I was in charge. Like, I'm like, no, you can't come now because I'm, checking out at at one of the grocery stores. Not now, please. And I didn't know that. And it came whenever it wanted to. I was told that it was so excited that it had the body, that it, the communication now had a form to express itself. The other piece that really was a tipping point for me, being comfortable with it, was how I allowed the energy to come through me. And it was, what was happening, it was like a direct hit. And it was so refined coming into a dense body. That's when it really shook the form up. So when I realized a way to refine it to come through in a specific way, my body was 100% better. It didn't knock me out. Because literally, when I did sessions with clients, I had to space them like 2 hours apart because I couldn't move. I just laid down and I'm like, oh my God, what this did to me. And then I was able to rejuvenate, took a while, and then, okay, I could see the next person. So those were some things that were a tipping point for me, that I was able to have more grace and ease. Another tipping point was when I realized I didn't have to understand about it. And I purely surrendered to it, which eased everything up. I just completely relaxed, with that. So I think that was your second question.
Yeah. Like to me, I'm stunned by the fact that you said you had this corporate mindset.
Yeah. very
And
much.
then you fell totally 180 degrees the other way. I could see that being a challenge. Like, to me, the light language never drains me.
Yeah,
I don't know whether the body was ready for this. It's just, you know,
maybe. Yeah.
that's not a big issue. It was just that I've been in the head about it. The interesting thing I would really like to know, and I'm not sure if that was really my third question, but do you have a communication? Like, for me, I am not speaking language, light language for communication. I'm told by the Andromedans it's for activation.
For yourself or for others?
Everybody, whatever,
Okay, so
whenever
collective.
I use it, and I don't even have to be with anybody, it's just into the field.
Okay.
So it's bringing a certain circuit into the system.
Sure. Yeah.
And I'm not sure whether my ego says, because I don't want to deal with people. I don't know. But maybe we'll talk about that another time. Thank you so much.
Yeah, you're welcome. So I'll touch on your second or your first question, second. And I believe if it was like, actually, do I have control of my mouth or something like that, or have control of what's being said? And you know, absolutely not. You know, it's really a surrender, and there's no thought in it. There's no questioning it. Again, it's the allowance of having the opening, and that it just, and it flows through. So there's no human aspect except the form, I feel, and the words that are you know, the frequencies that are coming out that are part of this. Otherwise, I feel like it's, you know, the voice of divinity, you know, that it's expressing.
Thank you so much,
Thank
Jen.
you.
Yeah.
Thank you, Hildegard. We have another question. It says, are there light language codes for activating our DNA, which are responsible for recovering or healing? Because I would love to heal some body parts of mine.
Yeah. Yeah. So again, this is years ago, when it was coming through, I got the message that this was altering DNA. And I'm like, what? Again, this was very new to me. I wasn't in touch with sound and DNA shifting, and I just took it in, and I'm like, yeah, okay. All right. That's what you say, you know. And then what started to happen is articles kept showing up about light language changing the DNA, or someone mentioned it. And I'm like, well, I guess that's what's going on. It's not that I asked about it, I questioned it, that it was in my, you know, consciousness, might have been in my subconscious, I don't know. But I feel the answer to that is yes. The question is yes. Yeah. And body part. Yeah. Her liver, the person's liver. I don't know if they're tuned into that at all, but yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Then I have one says, hello, Shamaya. I desire to request all upgrades, activations, and adjustments that will serve in the highest everyone who will receive this in perpetuity.
Okay. Would we like to do that now?
Yes, please.
Okay. So preparing to receive, you know, being very aware of the body. So this is coding. This is what's coming through. So I'm going to pause for a moment because the message is coming through. So all of us are receiving this. Now, if there is a particular part of the body, the form, an emotional discord, mental strain in any of this, allow yourself to receive it in that particular area, but at the same time, taking in as whole or holiness. Just taking in a breath, taking in a nice breath. Receiving So I'm being told to pause. So there's some integration here. Another pause. And seeing it coming in different ways for you, either very direct or showering, just allowing it, taking in nice deep breaths, really being very aware of the form, any shifting on any level, because I'm not only working with the form, but I'm working with the higher levels of you, of your existence. The silence times are purposeful. Also, what's being shown here is being very aware of the in-between of the codes that are coming through. So it's not just the coding that you hear that is being affecting you. There's a space between. Allah pito to lo malala me mi ya yo shopping para to lo mi mana to kono para te shimana later mi ara ni to pepe ar pa pitorio pia me yar pa change shiko to para ni di. So being with the stillness and the space between sacred. There's a holy essence in between the spacing. So we're shifting here a little bit. This is about what you just received. Ishi shamarati kubiadati palala me te kobe te stin utu yuberata. Ishita ma eta hamita pa ishu do udu utu mirati ka. Ikochim enene kotopala aishane ma at a kotopala ai petetine itite parata ishi shi 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 shi. And that is complete. So what I would invite here is just let this settle in a bit before the next question. I'm feeling there was a big hit here. So just letting it settle in. Ishara, datar.
That was amazing. I can still feel it.
Yeah,
running.
it was
Yeah,
big.
Still
It was
feel it running through the body.
yeah, it was big. That's why I'm saying I think giving that sacred space a bit here. And you have to be the facilitator, Sheila. I don't know if anyone's feeling it. I am, but the the quality of the stillness that we're in right now. I mean, what I'm experiencing is just the vastness of it all. It's like we're bathing in it. Yeah. See, there's no words for this, is there? Right? It's sacred unity. Mm. I'm not reading the chats. I don't have my chat on. I don't know. It's too much for me to read right now. I can't take it. I'm sorry.
It's okay, Will.
Yeah.
I'll take care of it.
Yeah.
I just wanted to say that was super intense. It came right through the screen.
Yeah, it was big. It was a big kerplunk, as I would say. It was an energetic surge for sure. Yeah.
I felt it. That was intense. Thanks.
You're welcome. I get it too, you know. I'm receiving it too.
Yeah, it's amazing that it can like pop through the screen even.
Yeah.
And transcend time.
Yeah. I mean,
time, space, whatever this is.
Yeah. You know, I had a sanctuary for 15 years where I saw clients, and my husband has a private practice too. And when the pandemic hit, and our lease was up, we said, you know what, this is going to be around a long time. Let's not renew the lease. So we haven't. And
I
we
bought actually my couch, my chair, and that little chair table.
That's awesome.
I
That's why I love
splurged.
Glenwood Springs. Like, knowing people who have prominent things here isn't like I don't know, it's like a badge of honor, but also like most people know everybody. So it's not like.
So Sandy, maybe put you on mute, because we're hearing your conversations.
Oh my gosh, sorry.
It's okay. What I was going to share is, you know, I've been doing distance healing again for years, so this was nothing new. And people are like, well, does it really work? And I'm like, oh yeah. I feel like it sometimes it's more effective. There's something about it, distance healing, I feel like.
Does it work like even continuing after?
Well, thank you for asking that. That's why when I got the message to like let this, like, give it space, that's exactly what's going to be happening. I sort of see it as like wave-like coming through, settling in. So in a way, it's an energetic digestion, you know, integrating the felt quality of it. And, you know, like I'm sure everyone received something different, you know.
It really felt like it was pouring through the screen.
Yeah.
It just, like waves.
Yeah.
But like raining waves.
They're still
Beautiful.
rippling all around us.
Yeah,
Mhm.
it's I don't know. You know, we don't know. So whoever asked the question that turned the switch on.
I may be mispronouncing it, but is
That was
it,
me.
Pardon me?
I think that was me that asked the question about the one that she just said.
Okay,
Is that
about
what
the
you were asking, JoAnne? Is who
Yeah,
asked the
that
question?
someone
That was
asked the
me.
question, and
Mhm.
I don't know if it was the DNA or like, can something be expressed for the collective? I don't really remember the question, but whatever the question was, to get the transmission.
Yes.
And it was coding.
Oh, it was a
So
co-creation.
yeah, I
Two
don't,
questions.
yeah. And this
Would
was
be upgrade.
coding, right? It was definitely coding that was taking place, much different than what was shared, you know, earlier on tonight.
Beautiful. Let's see. I think Susie, you had your hand up.
I did. I'm so overwhelmed with this energy that I didn't know whether I should move forward. Am I right in saying, understanding that we could ask like a question personally, and we can maybe get some help with that?
Yeah, that'd be fine. You're comfortable with it. And
Yeah, well, I opened up last week at this meeting saying some of my situation. I've been at this for a long time. I don't have a gray hair yet, but I'm 70, and my husband's got, my mate of 30 years has dementia, and I've been doing it for a couple of years now. I thought I finished my doctorate in metaphysics a decade ago. I've been a New Thought minister. I really have studied, and 52 years ago, I had a death experience, and then I had another one, and I've just been, excuse my French, balls to the wall spiritually. And I just kept thinking that by now I'd have so many, and basically I'm homebound. I'm studying with anybody that can, but I have so many prophetic people telling me I'm supposed to be, I had dreams where I would just run through and just touch people. And the only people I'm touching now is on Zoom because we're all, but it's a different world. I kind of want to know what I'm going to be when I grow up. And I've been doing it for so long, that it feels like I'm not getting there fast enough.
Okay. So I'm not clear of the question. I don't know. Maybe you had a question in there, but I missed it.
How do I get? I'm just so taking care of my mate with dementia and my kitty and puppy, and I'm exhausted. I'm just emotionally, physically, spiritually exhausted. I still keep up with studying and Zoom when I do, but it's all I can do to keep up right now. And it's at the same time that I thought I'd be teaching and manifesting and all this. And so I'm just wondering, how do I get there from here?
Yeah. Okay. The first piece that's showing itself, Susie, is not to make this complicated, not to create more, I'm going to use the word chaos because that's the word that's showing up, not to create more chaos in what you're feeling is chaotic. So I like to approach these kinds of things because, and especially there isn't, this is multi-level of what you shared with me, what you shared with the group, that you're vulnerable and willing to do that. It's multi-level. It's, without a doubt, a soul experience. It's really a soul teaching and lesson that you're in right now. It would be helpful if you do not, or allow yourself not to resist what you're in. And by resisting what you're in right now is creating more suffering for you. And what you shared with me, part of it is, if not all of it, you're very much outside and away from yourself and not really being fully engaged in the moment and being here, because you have the question or the angst. Again, I'm using words that I'm hearing. The angst that it should be something else that is adding a layer of turmoil to your life. I don't know if you said this, but what I'm hearing is I'm trying to do everything. And ask yourself, how is that working out for you? That probably isn't serving you right now. So again, by having the engagement and I have to do everything, there's a very strong fight within you. So you may want to consider to relax around where you are right now in your life, not to resist it or push up against it. Because when you push up, it's just, it's more angst, if you will, sort of the energetic, it like keeps ramping up and ramping up. When you allow yourself to relax around it, things will relax around it. You will actually feel more energy by softening versus contracting around the situation. The other piece I just want to share is and boy, is this for everybody, I'm sure. But when we have strong expectations, like I should be doing, that people have told me, and they're not met, that really triggers a discord within you. And what I'm hearing is your soul knows this, and this is exactly why you're in this situation, right? So blessings to you, and the work and the love that you're extending to those in your home.
Yeah, right. I get that. I think I've been resisting and not knowing I was resisting. And even the last couple of weeks, I've been, trying to rest, trying to relax, trying to learn how to, and I've come to a point where if I don't do it, there's nobody else that will.
Yeah.
So I'm having to pay for somebody to help me because I can't do it. I just can't do it.
Yeah, to me, there's a soul lesson and teaching in here, that it's not weak to ask for help. It actually is very courageous for you to allow yourself to open the door to let someone assist, because it's just depleting you. It's like you're fighting yourself in a way. You're in battle, with yourself, and something to consider, and you may do this or know about it, but to help sort of reset being in the present moment, to sort of begin to relax the nervous system. I mean, there's a lot to do, but practicing breath work, just being with the breath, being out in nature. I'm actually seeing you laying on the ground, like get your body on the ground, and breathe in. The words that are coming is when you breathe in, that you are breathing in the essence of sacred unity, having that fill your body, permeate your cells. And when you exhale, you release, allowing it to cleanse your aura, to really cleanse your aura, because it's like a little sponge right now. So hopefully that'll help. Trusting it will.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Beautiful. Thank you. Rebecca has a question. It says, for weeks, I often wake up lightheaded and vision not fully normal, like I'm not fully back in my body. Is this part of the awakening, ascension, or downloads? Or all of them?
Whoa. Yeah. Well, a question, and if you're comfortable asking it, is that the only time that you feel lightheaded and dizzy, or is it all day? I don't know. Could she?
Okay. She'll have to text it because it's like 2:30 in the morning where she is.
Hello.
Yeah.
I don't know if she has a sense that she
time
travels. Yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
I'm sorry. Sometimes during the day.
Yeah.
She experiences this as well.
Well, again, sort of the caveat of, if you checked with your doctor, I'm not giving medical advice here or anything, but a piece that I'm hearing and getting is to really support her being in her body, being grounded, in alignment, connecting with nature, connecting with Mother Earth. And I feel what is going on with the intense energy that is coming in on the planet right now. If you're not fully embodied, especially, it's gonna fry you a little bit. So when the dizzy, lightheaded, again, that you're medically okay, just want to put that in there. If you can allow yourself to stop, pause, and I call it the sacred pause. Just allow yourself to be still for a moment. Sit down, go outside, sort of stop activity if you're able, and it's safe for you to do that, to help bring yourself back into the form again. Hydrate, being hydrated is really important. Of course, holistic, holy food, those kinds of things will help to sort of support that wobbly. And I'm with you. I get wobbly, and I really honor by just stopping and taking time for myself to sort of just to really be fully in the present moment.
Let's make sure that everyone is muted, please.
I don't see who's not muted, so I can't.
I
I
don't
hear a
either.
hot mic, but I don't see who it is.
I don't either.
Must be on the other pages. I'm looking for them now.
So hopefully that helps the person who asked the question at 2:30 in the morning.
Great. Thank you. So Glinda.
Hi.
Hi.
How are you? I want to say thank you. I'm still feeling the vibrations.
Yeah. It was,
And my angelic team just said to ask you what you need to tell me.
well,
And usually I would not do this publicly, but they're saying say it now. So
okay. So the first thing that's showing up is your heart. And I'm seeing it as a sacred heart. The sacredness of I'm not speaking about the the physical heart, but the essence of the sacred heart. I don't know if you are connected to the ascended feminine energy, whether it's Mother Mary, Mary Magdalene, Kuan Yin, Tara, but I am seeing that the feminine energy, the softness, the compassion to really the word that's coming up is bathe in, allowing it to bathe in. I'm actually seeing you receiving it as a waterfall. It could be sort of the energetic showering of that energy of the sacred feminine. So this is about softening, really softening. And at the same time, though we're speaking about the sacred feminine, what is also showing us is the wisdom, which is the sacred masculine, and having that not be disowned in you, not be disowned. So to have a, I'm going to use the word healthy, like a healthy balance between those energies of embodiment.
thank you.
You're welcome.
Beautiful, beautiful. Cindy has her hand up.
Okay, thanks. I was hesitant because it's personal, but I've been dealing with a lot of back pain, and I'm afraid to go to the doctor, and I don't know what to do. Any suggestions or help or vibe?
Yeah, the first piece that immediately jumped out was not to be in fear. So let us just look at fear. It's very contracting. It brings in discord, dis-ease. So when the back pain, and again, I'm not saying to go to the doctor or not to go to the doctor, but to be with it on an energetic level. Everything is energy, everything has the frequency and vibration. So there's a contraction there. Again, not to get into all the details about it. I'm just sharing what's showing up that can support you is when the pain does show itself, bring your attention to it. Not to avoid it or push it away or feed it fear, but bring your attention to it and breathe into it. Breathing in where, as you're breathing into it, that it's taking in the energetic frequency of acceptance. Like, again, sort of this resistance that you're not resisting because that just tightens it up. So the image I'm seeing is like a young child. That's the image that I'm seeing. That if there's a child in pain or tension, you're not going to push this child away. You are going to embrace that child and extend it love and actually hold it. And you can do that energetically by putting your attention to that part of your body. Breathing into it allows it actually to open it up, to give it space, to move the sort of contraction and pain level that you're feeling. So I'm just going to work with it just for a moment here, with your permission.
Absolutely.
So I'm working from the top of your spine. And breathe through this, not just listening to it, actually see the energy moving down the spine, breathing in very gently. Breathe into that. We're moving it gently, just moving it very gently. And this isn't all your energy. This is not all of your contraction that you're feeling. Because I'm just seeing there's tension somewhere in your life right now. I don't necessarily need to know what it is, but I'm feeling that has something to do with it. Okay, just breathing through it. So it's relaxing into it. Okay, we're complete.
Thank you so much. Makes a lot of sense.
Okay.
A lot. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. You're welcome.
Okay, beautiful. Thank you, Cindy. Does anyone else have any questions? I'll try to scan through the chat. I do want to mention that each of these presentations are recorded and can be found on wishalliance.org under the past presentations. You have to go to the event tab, and then they also will be played on Portal to Ascension YouTube channel. And so if you've joined us late, which I think a couple people have, you don't have to worry about missing out on this phenomenal presentation brought to us by JoAnne and Shamaya.
Mm-hmm.
So JoAnne, thank you. Does anyone, okay. So it's 3:32. So thank you so much for joining us. I appreciate you being here. Let's see. I don't see any other questions. Does any of the audience? Yes.
I think I have a question from someone in my audience. If you give me just a second, I'll get her to send it to me and I can read it to you.
Beautiful.
And if not, Sheila, there's something is showing to share if there's time, and whatever feels right.
So Bridget is getting a question from her audience member.
Mhm.
Hi, Lonnie. I see you've joined us.
Mhm.
Welcome, welcome.
Mhm. Yeah.
I see Karen is joining us from Australia, Karen Swain. Thank you so much for being with us as well.
Hi, it's a pleasure.
Hi,
Beautiful.
Karen.
Thank you.
Is it okay if I just share
Yes.
something, or?
Yes, please go ahead
then-
while Bridget's collecting the question.
So, yeah, this is surfacing. I'm feeling it's surfacing based on some of the questions or struggles that people are having, challenges or whatever. But one thing I have found, I've really taken it on as a personal practice for many years now, and working with other souls, teaching them to be mastering their how can I describe it, mastering their conscious observer, being an observer, like really mastering that. And what I mean by that is being engaged in life, and there are so many distractions that are coming from everywhere, and not to be overwhelmed by that, but to be more of an observer of what is unfolding and taking place out in the world. And better yet, what is unfolding and taking place in your inner world, and being a conscious observer of what is going on inside of you, that really gives you an opportunity to, I mentioned a little while ago, to be in that sacred pause, if you will, to really just witness, understand what you're experiencing, and not be so reactive, or something triggers you out there, and not be so reactive, but be more of the mastering of that observation. It gives you an opportunity to possibly do the self-inquiry, just say, why is that pissing me off so much? Why is it triggering me? Why am I getting angry? What is it about that person, or about that headline, or about, wow, we could list a lot of things that are going on. And you begin to have a deeper understanding of why the trigger is there, how long it's been there. Is there a pattern? And you could begin to choose differently on how to react in an unconscious way, and be really mindful on how you do want to engage, and if you want to engage at all. it allows your view of things to really broaden. It broadens your perspective and understanding. And the more you have a better understanding of what's, what your inner world is going through. We all have our little turmoils. We all do. We're human. We're not like Yeshua level yet, or Buddha. And maybe we are. Maybe some of them are. That's great. But the more you pay attention to the inner world and not to resist and be with it as, like in the Way of Mastery, it says, be with it as a neutral event. And you begin to see and be with it differently. It gives you an opportunity anyway to see and be with it differently. How to choose again. How is it really serving you? And it's still showing up because it needs attention. It needs attention. So I just wanted to put that in there just to touch on it a little bit.
Okay, Bridget, do you have your question?
Yes, ma'am. I have one of them. Okay, so Mary Beth Porter says she has a contact that has influence with what's going on with the world, and she's passionate about it. Should she speak up and try to ease what's going on, or is it above her pay grade and or not worth, above her pay grade and his, and or not worth the possible risk of the relationship?
Say the first part of the question again, because that I didn't quite get.
Okay, I'm going to take my other earbud out so I can. Okay, this is better. I'm listening to myself in stereo and it's playing a little bit
Right.
from doing all of the streaming.
Yeah.
I'm like, whoa, this is a lot. Okay, so she says, Mary Beth Porter, she says, and she's a sister, we love her. She says, I have a contact that has influence with what's going on with the world, and she's passionate about it.
Okay.
Should she speak up and try to ease what's going on, or is it above her pay grade and his, and or not worth the possible risk of the relationship?
Okay. I guess I'm getting a little, so the person she has contact with, it's not an embodied person. Is that what I'm understanding?
I think it is an embodied person that has
a body,
some sort of influence with what's going on with the world.
Okay.
And I am, Mary Beth, if you have any clarification, you're listening to this. If you have any clarification, you can add it in the DM or the back chat.
So.
Oh, she's here.
Oh, all right. Okay. She have anything to add to that? Or otherwise I could address it. Well, let me share what is showing itself, with how I'm understanding. The first piece that really showed up as I finally got the question, I was able to take it in. I'm not completely in my thinking mind here. Is for her to really go inward and ask that question more on a deeper level than the intellectual mind. So go inward into a more spacious part or aspect of herself to sit and be with that question that she's asking. Should she go above, sort of the pay grade? This is about speaking your truth in a mindful and an impactful way. That's really the biggest message that I'm seeing here for her, that she addresses it in a really mindful way that can open the door to something to beneficially happen. Does that make sense of what I'm sharing with her?
She said, absolutely.
Okay. Because what go ahead.
Oh, I'm sorry. She says she's intuitive and she keeps, go ahead, Mary Beth. They can't hear you, but I can. Okay. She says you're right on. She's been getting intuition to go within and tap in. And she says she's been getting the information to say it in certain ways, but be tactful.
Yes.
But she's got to get it off her chest.
Yeah. Something to consider, and she may have already done this, is write down her thoughts, like if she journals, to really get a sense of how she wants to communicate, the energy behind her communication, the words that she chooses to express I'm going to use the word concern because I think that's what's here. So to really engage in this, because what I'm seeing is like she's like a horse in the, ready for a race. Like she wants to go and then she holds back. She wants to go and then holds back. So communicating this and stepping into it with a higher level of consciousness and not in the three-dimensional way of expressing what she's aware of. And if that makes sense for her.
She said, that's awesome.
Okay, cool.
Hold on a second. She's asking if, Mary Beth, repeat it and go slower because I have 2 earbuds in. Should she come in her power and her science and her knowing, or should she play dumb, like, am I missing something here? Share with me. They know she knows because she's done intuitive work with them before.
Right. So I would have her consider to be authentic about this and not necessarily play a game.
She said she loves that. Yeah, because he can see through the games.
Because a game is happening, right? There's a game going on. There's a lot of games going on, right, on planet Earth. So that's why I'm saying sort of the higher level of consciousness, of mindfulness, and not be in communicating in the 3D world that's, kind of icky. It's pretty icky. So trusting that'll help and support.
She's asking if you're getting anything on a voice recorded message other than a phone call, if that would be safer.
What I'm seeing is, again, this is for her to feel into. If she feels there's danger, again, I don't know the situation. I don't necessarily need to know the details, but if she feels it's safer to communicate via phone, and depending on how big it is, the best way to communicate this that's going to be impactful and safe at the same time. I'm really purposely not telling her what to do because I don't know the whole scope. But to really approach this, and this is for for all of us really, is to be true to yourself and authentic. To not add masks to a situation that probably has a lot of masks and cover-ups or whatever that she's seeing. Is that going to add and benefit her coming forward, and how she comes forward? What is safe for her?
Thank you. She says, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. The thank yous are continuing.
All right. That's cool. That's beautiful.
She said she was going to walk away and just leave it, but she's got to be honest. Authentic. I'm sorry. I misheard.
Yeah. I mean, that's
Yeah,
what's
be herself.
happening, right? Isn't that what's happening? All these kinds of situations are really testing us, boy. They're stretching us. Yeah.
Wonderful. Thank you, Bridget, for bringing that forward.
Yeah.
Thank you. I have a couple more if we have time.
Okay.
Is that
Yep.
okay?
Yeah, sure.
Okay.
Okay.
So Faye, I'm going to take my other earbud out real quick so I can not hear myself mirrored. Faye was told by her cosmic family that she needs to remember how to tap into many of her abilities, such as levitate objects and the ability to communicate telepathically. They said that she must, in all caps, remember to do this. She's wondering, how does she tap in and activate these abilities?
Okay. So how I see them is they're innate in her. And I'm going to say this, and it's, obvious, but it's gifts that she had in past lives. So I don't know if she has connection to past life that this may have actually happened. And this is really cultivated through stillness and a high level intensity through other realms. So it's actually asking help from the higher realms to be the teachers, if you will, to awaken the innate knowledge that she already has within her.
Wow, that's beautiful. She's very grateful. She says, thank you, thank you, thank you. Okay, so I have one last question that came through. It's from Michelle Boyer and Bobby Finley. They're a couple. And she just wants to know if there are any messages for her or Bobby that are coming through. They also speak light language and translate for each other. So just so you know, they do that on Clubhouse all the time.
So this is interesting, but I'm sort of smiling because I'm like, So what is showing up is tapping into spaciousness, a depth of stillness. This is about being more than doing. Really being with the limitlessness of the communication that goes and flows through them. like knowing isn't necessarily needed is what I'm hearing. Knowing on the egoic personality level.
Wow. They haven't responded yet. She can't
Okay.
talk, so she's sending it in text, but I can feel them both going, yes, wow. I'm just going to say thank you for them because I know them well and they're my friends. So, and I know that their
Sweet.
hearts are full with that answer.
Yeah.
I did have one last come in,
Mhm,
if that's okay, Sheila and JoAnne.
mhm.
Yes, we'll go ahead and take your question, and then we have one more for JoAnne before we close. So go right ahead, Bridget.
Beautiful. This is from Fabienne, and she is wondering if there is any energy for continuing to release the weight of all burdens from past generations' trauma and patterns passed on, and keeping only the light gifts of the lineage, all for the highest good. She says, thank you.
Mhm. And just say the first part of the question again to me.
Any support for energy for
Okay.
continuing to release the weight of burdens from
Okay.
past generations and trauma and patterns.
So a few things that are showing themselves here. And Shamaya is here for her also. Oh, so Shamaya is coming through first. And this is really a blessing for the journey. This is honoring her soul and her willingness. Okay. Yeah, so allowing that to resonate and seep in to her being. So again, a few things that are showing themselves as she's processing this. I guess a couple of things. Let me see. Don't feel or be with your belief system around that you have to take the karmic clearing on fully. Like that may be a belief system in order to clear it. You can clear it by not taking it on. You can clear it by observing it, being that conscious observer, and not energetically feeling or carrying. The word that's coming up is burden, a big burden, and also a sense of I'm responsible. Question if that's really true. Or did you put that responsibility on yourself? When she feels this, I'm going to use the word burden. I use words that I see and I hear. When she feels because it's pretty heavy, it's pretty dense, a question that she could consider is how much is this mine and how much is it of my karmic collective family? And her responsibility is really just for her own. And by clearing your own, it automatically shifts and touches sort of the karmic release. So this may help ease the burden that she has taken on, or the willingness to take it on. But she can do it in a way that she's observing and sending the blessings outward instead of taking the sort of I mean, what I see is a lot of baggage, luggage piled up. Like it's a pretty wide and broad sense of energy that's on her shoulders, you know. So what I'm offering here is different perspectives to help clear. Yeah, we're complete.
Thank you for that. We are very grateful. That message is highly impactful for so many right now, JoAnne. So thank you. Thank you, Shamaya. Thank you, JoAnne.
Yeah, Bridget, I appreciate your bringing that up, that it's impactful for so many people, because I believe when we're in settings like this, even though there's an individual asking a question, the information and the vibration of the words is meant for all of us. And so even if you did not ask a question tonight, you'd still received that energy and that healing. So we do have one more question, and this is Stephanie Morel. If you want to go ahead, Stephanie.
Hi, hello. Thank you so much for the invite. This is my first time in here, and thank you for taking my question. I realize that my question is probably very highly individualized, so I apologize to the rest of the group. I guess one of my biggest sort of existential questions that I go back and forth with and try to connect with my guides, guardians, and ancestors, and haven't really gotten such a clear answer on it. But so, and honestly, I'm not even sure whether there's supposed to be a definitive answer to this at this point or not. But if you have the channel open, maybe something will come through or not. But this question that I bat back and forth is whether having biological children in this lifetime is actually a part of my spiritual purpose, or whether my higher purpose for this lifetime will actually be better served by not having biological children and delivering motherly, nurturing energy in different ways on Earth.
So it's interesting, Stephanie, the image that was showing itself when you were asking the question is, it's you, though I don't know you or what you look like, but it's you. And you're walking through a forest of cobwebs, and they're thick. And you're I don't know if you could see me, maybe you could see me, but you're sort of walking through and like pushing them all aside, you know? So metaphorically, it's kind of interesting of like, you know, finding the answer in these, like one cobweb goes into another cobweb, goes into another cobweb. And it's like, it's never, you know, never ending. But, you know, these kinds of questions, again, the guidance that comes up is not to tell you what to do. That's really not serving you by telling you what to do. Should have children, shouldn't have children. These kinds of questions, I feel, are best answered by you sitting with and being with that question in a state of quiet or stillness or meditation, not forcing it. And a piece here to add to it is notice how the body is feeling when you're asking it. We're asking or communing with the question. And when something arises, because it might not be clear right away, but things will arise, notice how your body is feeling and reacting to what is showing itself. Because the body, is our communication device. It informs us. For I don't know how many years now, I ask my body, should I do this or do that? And it tells me. I feel contracted or opened. It's very clear. If I thought about it, I would be like for days, So this is an invitation to really be with your question. There's a piece here that's showing up is fulfillment. And it's probably soul fulfillment. What do you feel would fulfill your soul in the richest way for this lifetime? Because you could be a midwife or a mother in various ways. I chose not to have children in this lifetime. I made a conscious choice to do that. But when this kind of question arises, you're sort of being pulled and tugged, either way. And again, the image that I'm seeing is, notice if when the question arises, is it coming from sort of the lower dimensional, three-dimensional egoic state of I should, if I don't, am I going to lose out? Sort of the chatter that comes along with that, to another question of not. And again, do you feel it differently in your body? Does your breath flow shift at all? Do you feel that contraction? Do you feel more of a relaxation, no matter which question you're with? And I mean, again, what I'm seeing here too is to approach this with ease and not angst. Approach your question with ease and not angst. So surrendering versus contracting, Yes,
ma'am. I receive all of that. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Sheila, just before you go.
Yes, I was just going to turn it over to you, my dear. I saw that hand up.
You saw my hand. It's not yellow, blends into the background. I just wanted to say to thank you to JoAnne. It's been beautiful to meet you today. And I missed the beginning of this, so I don't know if you introduced yourself. You sound like you're a New Yorker. Are you in New York?
I am.
Yeah.
I was born in Brooklyn, New York.
Uh-huh.
But grew up about 2 hours north of Brooklyn. So yes, I do have that sound. That's where I'm from.
That's pretty good coming from an Aussie, right? I'm picking
That's
up
right. That's right.
I just wanted to say, thank you for just holding that energy in New York. I mean, just beautiful to have your energy in New York.
So I don't live there.
Oh, you don't live
No,
there?
I'm from there. I live in Colorado, and I've been here about 16 years or so.
And also, when you're working with Judy, did you go to New Zealand to work with her?
No, I actually was with her when she was in Texas.
Oh, right. Okay.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because Judy's a New Zealander for those
Yes.
Yes. No, yeah, she's beautiful. She's gorgeous. I've been trying to get her on the show for years, but she's so busy. Anyway, she's gone through a bit of a transformation.
Yes.
But thank you so much for today. It's been beautiful to meet you and see your work.
Thank you, Karen.
Thank you, Karen. Thank you so much. JoAnne, I was wondering, I know we've run over time just a little bit, and I do want to honor your time, but I was wondering if you could leave us all with a final blessing.
Yeah. So, first, this was, my heart is full. I'll say that. My heart is full to be here this evening, to be in, well, actually, I invited myself and you accepted my invitation. Thank you.
Of course.
Because it was like, oh, maybe is there a match here? Maybe, I don't.
This Colorado girls got to stick together, huh?
Yeah. And really honor everyone that allowed their vulnerability to ask questions. You know, it sounded like some it was challenging to ask it or felt it wasn't appropriate or, you know, anything like that. So honor your vulnerability, which is quite resilient and courageous. So blessings for there. And yeah, if you're called to have a one-on-one, or you know, you can reach out and be honored to do that as well. So let us prepare to receive a blessing, a closing blessing, and really what's showing up is gratitude, is to be in this fullness, like pregnant with gratitude, you know, really have it and welcome it in a robust way is what's showing here. So kono pasane be kashtono malata ben katatoshtono ubiara te kalalate pestini soto tolore e makala api peshane e koto peneka tishtono biara tatala ashiti kama iko miana takala iko de pepere tistini. So this is so beautiful and uplifting for all of us. Kiana boko topa anishiti osho. Shika ana e batat olo e mekana e pa akaki. Sono oma ama iki maratono oba ikasana ikoto choni o mene iki. Baratatina tostono olola ama ali Allah 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 Allah.
Beautiful. Thank you so much. Thank you for being here. I'm very appreciative. Thank you to Shamaya for coming and blessing us all. I'm very appreciative. Bridget, thank you for coming and allowing us to come into your clubhouse room. Thank you so much. And I want to thank everyone. Karen, thank you for being here. Thank everyone for really showing up and being present and asking your questions, receiving. And I think that as all of the blessings were being given, as Shamaya was speaking to each and every one, I don't know about you guys, but I could feel everything kind of resonating, and it would come into my heart and then begin to vibrate throughout my body. And I still feel some of that energy flowing. And so I think if everyone has an opportunity tonight to just kind of be with this energy, to let it integrate, and be in your gratitude, and just thank Shamaya before you go to sleep in the morning, and just kind of see what happens to this energy. So JoAnne, I've put your information in the chat. If you want to share that again for people in case they missed it and they want to get a hold of you, that'd be awesome.
Yeah. The website is probably the easiest, and it's JoAnnePalladino.com. And you could, email me in that way. And my phone number is on the website as well. So it's probably the most direct and easiest way to reach out and look forward to. I call it playing with you, because that's what we're in. We're in this big universal sandbox here. So to play, work with you. When we had our sanctuary, it's like I'm going to the sanctuary. I'm not going to an office. That was not an office, So look forward to playing with you again.
Beautiful.
Thank you, Sheila.
Thank you so much. And we'll definitely invite you to come back in the future This was awesome to have you. And thank everyone again for being here. To hear or watch this replay, please visit the wishalliance.org. I'm hoping to have this transmission up later tonight. And so go to the events tab, click on past speakers, and just scroll down. JoAnne's name will be at the bottom since she was our last speaker. And you can go ahead and click on that and just replay it. And so feel free to share the link with your friends. It will be played. I'll be sending everything to Neil, so it will be on Portal to Ascension on the YouTube channel. I'll send it to Alan as well. So hopefully we have lots of replays so people can hear Shamaya's message and receive the blessings that we have. So thank you very much. Next week, we have our family gathering. So everybody, tell everyone you know to come share your stories. This is, it's just a good time for us all to get to know each other a little bit better and to, be heard and be seen. So thank you all very much again. Till next week. Namaste, and
Namaste,
love
everyone.
to everyone. Good night,
Much love.
everybody.
Bye.
Bye, thank you, thank you.
Good night.
Good night, everyone.
Bye.
Bye.
Thank
Thank
you. Bye.
you.
Bye.
Thank you, Hildegard.
Bye. Good night.
Thank you.
Namaste.
Bye, everybody.
Bye-bye.
Thanks, JoAnne.
Bye-bye.
Thanks, Sheila.
Oh,
Thanks,
Good
everybody.
Bye,
Yeah.
Rose.
Bye.
good
night.
Good
I
night.
miss y'all. Good
Bye,
night.
Love
Lovey.
you. Bye-bye.